I am looking underneath the truck for any puddle of fuel, oil, coolant, and I do not see any hanging wires. All my lenses in the front of the tractor are not broken, not missing. They are all the proper color, and they are all clean. I take a step back and inspect to verify the vehicle is sitting level in front to back and side to side. I use 3 points of contact to open the hood. I check the engine and transmission for fluid and air leaks. There are no dripping fluids coming from both, and there are no audible air leaks coming from both. There are no fluids on the brake drum and lining. I check the dipstick. The oil is at the proper level. I pull out the dipstick, wipe it clean, reinsert it, and make sure the oil level is between add and full. I don't have to pull it out for the examiner, just explain how I would check it. For the coolant and power steering reservoirs, the reservoir lines are between minimum and maximum. I can check by the lines on the side, and there are no leaks. The steering system's gearbox is securely mounted and not leaking. All steering hoses and connections are not cracked, worn, or leaking. The steering system has no missing nuts, bolts, or cotter keys. The steering linkage arms and rods from the box to the wheel are not worn or cracked, and the joints are not loose or worn.
The spring mounts are in the front and back. They are not cracked or broken, and they have no missing hardware. The leaf springs are not cracked or broken, and they are not missing or shifted. If equipped, the airbags are not cracked or leaking and are securely mounted. The shock absorber is not cracked, broken, or leaking and is securely mounted. The brake lines or hoses are not cracked or leaking and supply air to the brake system. The hoses and fittings are secure and tight. The brake drums and linings show no contamination, with no fluids, oil, grease, etc. I check the tires, including the inside and outside sidewalls and tire tread. There are no cuts, no tears, or exposed wire. The tread depth is 4/32 seconds or more, which I check with a tread depth gauge. I also check for proper inflation with an air pressure gauge. The valve stem is not cracked or broken, and the cap is present and tight with no leaks. I inspect the rim inside and outside. The bolt holes are not cracked or distorted, and there is no damage or repair welds. There is no rust to show the rim is loose, and the studs are not cracked or loose, with no missing hardware. All lug nuts are present and tight, with no shiny threads or rust trails, and no broken studs.
I inspect the side of the vehicle lenses and reflectors. They are not cracked or broken, not missing, and clean. The traffic devices or mirrors are not cracked or broken, securely mounted, with no missing hardware, and they are clean and clear. The battery box shows that the batteries are secure. Connections are tight with no corrosion, and all cables are secure, not cracked or worn. The battery box door or cover is secure and opens and closes properly. The DF tank and fuel tank are both securely mounted, caps are tight, and there are no leaks from the tanks or the lines. I check the frames of the truck, trailer, and tandems. There are no cracks or broken welds, no damage to the frame, cross members, and tandems, and no holes in the floor. 4 sliding tandem trailers, the tandem release pins and or release arm are secure. I check the air and electric lines and connectors. The connections on the truck and trailer are seated and sealed, not damaged and locked in place. The hoses and lines are not cracked, cut, chafed, spliced, taped, or worn, and they are not tangled, crimped, pinched, or dragging on the vehicle or on the ground. The kingpin and apron are not cracked, broken, bent, or worn. The apron is flat on the skid plate with no gap, and the kingpin is in place and properly greased. The 5th wheel skid plate is not cracked or broken, securely mounted to the platform, with no excessive wear and properly greased. The locking and safety devices show that the lock jaws are around the kingpin, with no free play when I did the tug test, and the release arm is in the closed position with the safety latch in place. The tractor has a sliding 5th wheel, and I inspect the locking pins. They are not cracked or broken and are in the lock position. The landing gear is fully raised, the crank handle is secure, and there is no missing hardware. The support frame and pads are not cracked or broken, and there is proper clearance from the tractor to the landing gear to ensure the vehicle does not get caught up during turns. The reflective tape on the side and rear of the trailer is present and affixed securely to the trailer. Lastly, I check the lenses and reflectors at the rear of the trailer. They are not missing, not cracked or broken. They are of proper color and clean.